Hello, this is Matthew from Love Buddy. This is the LoveCast. Today is Sunday. Let's see, what is it? It's the 16th of June, 2019. Here in Philippines time. I'm here in the Philippines, born and raised in America, but started traveling when I reached about 25 years old. Started doing a lot of travel around the U.S. and then traveling around the world now for about 50 countries. Now I'm in the Philippines for a while here, and 10 a.m. on a Sunday, and then 10 p.m. on Saturday night at New York time. Wherever you are, welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful day, or you had a wonderful day. Today we're going to talk about, what is it? I forgot the first word. Yeah, does love bring integrity? So it's about desperation and compromise, and we're going to talk about how love relates. How does love relate to desperation? How does love relate to compromise? This is a huge issue in life for some of us, some of the time. I know it's an issue for me sometimes, even as recently as yesterday, when it came to a situation where someone in my family is gravely ill right now, life or death situation, need to go to the hospital. Here in Philippines, people are poor, they die. Happens in America too. We really don't like to think about it. We really don't like to admit it. We don't like to say it, talk about it. Happens in America too, but in a lot of countries it happens a whole lot more often. So he's got a situation with his sinus, and there's a growth there, and it's cancerous growth, and we don't know if it's a benign tumor or if it's a malignant tumor. But anyway, long story short, need about $800 to get him an operation, and if things go well, it would save his life. And if things don't go well, then we would lose him. And there's a very good chance that I think there's a certainty. I think he's already lost his vision. We're not sure if he's lost it permanently. For sure, he's lost it temporarily because there's swelling behind the eye, and the eye is bulging out now. And long story short, I lowered myself to asking for money, but I really don't care about if I'm high or low, if I'm admired or respected when it comes to financial matters or when it comes to needing something. Right? I think it's much more about compassion, and it's not about my reputation. I don't care what people think about me. Even when it comes to business matters, if somebody can help save a life, then who cares, right? Is there any pride in that? Is there any reputation that's a factor in that? Is any of that relevant? I don't think so. We're talking about somebody's life here. We're talking about somebody who's on death's doorstep, and there's something we can do about it. And yeah, there's a lot of people that die every day, and some of them we care more about because they're closer to us. We care about everybody, but some are more intimate, some are more important to us. And family, of course, is pretty much always going to be, unless you hate your family for some reason, you don't care if they live or die. Some people feel that way. So what I did was I was desperate, and I asked a friend for money so that I could help to pay for the hospital. And he had a lot of questions. And he said, look, it's not going to be the end of the money. You've been short on money before. Well, he didn't really say that, but that's the truth. And I think that was a factor. I've been short on money before, and he's helped me out before. And basically what I was trying to do was justify to him, because I was desperate. So I was compromising. Really, I was compromising what I believe in. I was compromising my self-respect. Look, if you don't have the money, great. He's got the money. But if you don't want to help the person out, that's totally fine. I can't be judgmental of that. We have to pick the people that we help. We have to pick where we put the money. And I have to pick my friends. And I have to pick where I put my resources too, though. So we have the freedom to choose, but it's going to have an impact. And it's going to have an impact on my relationship with him. I don't want to be judgmental, but if the well is dry and there's no compassion there, then it affects the way I feel about that person. And I think the fact that he's pretty much said, well, Don't help him, is basically what he said. And I have to help him. There's not a question about that. It's not a question in my mind. But what I did was I lowered myself to justifying because I felt desperate. How often do we do that? And is that self-loving? Is that loving to another person? No, it kind of tore myself down. I made myself look like less than who I really am, less capable, less understanding, less compassionate, less integrity. So if we're in a desperate situation, we'll break our integrity. We'll lie, we'll steal, we'll cheat from desperation. And a lot of times when we are desperate, a lot of times you'll see criminals. You know, a really common example you hear of, people will say he stole a loaf of bread for his family, and then he went to jail for that. I'm sure this person who stole this loaf of bread doesn't think it's right to steal. Very few, except for sociopaths, would consider that it's the right thing to do, to steal. Very, very few. I would guess 90% of the people that do steal things are doing it out of desperation, out of confusion, out of just a loss. But desperation is a key word here, because when you're desperate, you don't care. And you do things that sometimes people say are courageous. You know, if you see someone in a burning building, that's a kind of a desperation. You go and you save them, and then you're a hero. You don't care about protecting yourself. You don't care about surviving. You want to do everything you can to save that person because you're desperately trying to help them, because you're overwhelmed by the pain that you see them going through, by what they're suffering. What about somebody who robs? What about somebody who's desperate enough to use a gun in a liquor store and hold up the liquor store and risk their life? The guy behind the counter may very well have a shotgun or something hidden back there. It may very well be someone who's a customer in the store who's either an off-duty police officer, or they're holding a gun. They have a gun and they could shoot you. So someone who is robbing a store with a gun, sometimes we forget this is a desperate person. This person is desperate too. So that brings up the topic about lack of love, lack of understanding of love, lack of the application of love, lack of being able to love each other, knowing how to love each other, willingness to love each other, capability. You know, we don't know how to love. If we're not skilled at loving, if we're not always loving each other, practicing learning how to love each other, love ourselves, live in a world of love, living in the love zone. We get desperate, we compromise. And yesterday, I was clearly out of the love zone. I lost my self-respect. And as you can see, it's still kind of a cloudy thing in my mind. I'm still kind of sorting it out, what exactly happened. But I'll tell you one thing for sure. I'll tell you a couple things for sure. I wasn't in a love zone. I didn't keep my own integrity. I compromised what I believe in. I compromised what I feel. Now, I don't want to stand up for principles, and I don't want to be dogmatic. But I do want to be loving. That's all I want to do, is I want to be loving. And that love applied to myself is love applied to others as well. It's as simple as if someone says, hey, do you want another chocolate cupcake? I say, no, I'm sorry, you know, I don't want it. I don't want that. You close the door if it's not good for you. And for me, a chocolate cupcake would not be a healthy thing for me, so I'm not going to have one. So this is the thing about self-love. Self-love creates integrity. So a point that I made here, does love bring integrity? If we're committed, if we automatically say, I'm going to love myself, I'm going to respect myself and others, I'm going to have compassion and understanding for myself, I'm going to nurture myself. Is this a nurturing thing? Another quality of love is empowerment. Are we empowering ourselves? Do I feel empowered, or do I feel like I'm being dragged down? Do I feel like I'm being humiliated? Do I feel like I'm humiliating myself by lowering my own power, by disrespecting myself? Yeah. So we're in touch with these things, and we don't ever need to grovel. We don't need to beg. Have faith in love. Have confidence in love. The world is a kind place, and the world's going to take care of you. And challenges happen. Sometimes terrible, horrible things happen. And we have faith in love. We have faith that the universe is kind. And we do the best we can, and we move forward. And we don't give up. And I guess part of compromising this feeling of desperation is giving up on love, not having faith in love. And that's what I did yesterday. And it's a good lesson. It's a good lesson for me. It's something I learned. So today's LoveCast is a short one. It's not a long one. But I felt like this was something that was worth sharing. So I wanted to share this idea about desperation, when we feel desperation. And I have felt desperation before, and it's caused me to compromise. It's caused me to fall out of the love zone and do some things and behave in a way that doesn't have faith in love, that doesn't have trust in love, that doesn't have faith and trust in myself. And it's not a loving thing. And it's not only not a loving thing for myself, but when you don't love yourself, you're not loving others. It's a two-way street. Because love is universal. Love is like a hologram that affects the whole existence. So if we're in the love zone, that love is in our heart, but that love is everywhere too, and it's in the person that we're talking to, or it's in our pet dog. It's in the earth, it's in the trees, it's in the sun, it's in the moon, it's in the sky, it's everywhere. So when we're in tune with love, when we're in the love zone, we're part of that universal harmony. We're sharing that frequency, sharing that wavelength, and we're in sync. And we're in harmony with that. When we abandon love, love will never abandon us. Never, ever. It's impossible. It's impossible because love is always there. But when we abandon love, when we forget about love, which happens because we're in this three-dimensional world, we're these human beings. And this is a place to learn about love. And when we make a mistake, when we make the wrong choice, we forget, we get confused, we get agitated, we get distracted. We lose our touch. We get out of touch with love, which means we're out of the love zone. Things happen. We have an example to experience something to look back on. And that's a learning thing for us if we're open. And that's what I'm trying to be today. I'm trying to be open and learning and grow. Okay, so that's it for today. This has been a LoveCast. It's about desperation and compromise and how love brings integrity. Love brings integrity to the most important thing, and that is love. It brings focus on itself. It brings an awareness of what love would be, what love would not be in this situation. Forever learning process, and we're all here to learn. So thank you so much for watching and listening. Hope you're having a wonderful time. I hope your life is filled with love. And I'll be back tomorrow at the same time, which is about 14 minutes ago. And we'll talk about another topic in our next LoveCast tomorrow. Take care. I love you. This is Matthew from Love Buddy with another LoveCast. See you tomorrow.